coverage at America First Center. Henderson Silver Knights have officially crossed the quarter pole of the regular season, and after a bit of a rough weekend in Ontario and in Bakersfield, probably didn't get the results they deserved in Ontario. Bakersfield didn't have their best outing. So we'll talk about what's to come with more Bakersfield Condors on the schedule. Lucky launch is right around the corner. We'll give you all the updates you need for that. Trevor Connelly is going to join us in our next segment and talk about not just his great start to the season, but also the World Juniors preliminary roster came out for Team USA. He is on it, so we'll talk about World Juniors with Trevor as well. And then Chris Peters, the insider and content manager for FloHockey, knows a lot about the World Juniors. Yep. We'll have him on as well. So a lot to cover. But Darren, first of all, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving as well.
You as well.
Yeah. How was yours?
It was good. 3 kids, New York, Chicago, all came to town. Grown kids. And real nice to see them. And it was a busy time with VGK having 3 games in 4 nights around the holiday.
We asked Ryan Craig this last week on our Catching Up with Coach segment. You've been in hockey basically your entire life, so I'm sure not every Thanksgiving was necessarily at home in your dining room. Any particular good ones? My best non-home Thanksgiving was my first in pro hockey. I was with the Idaho Steelheads. We were on the road in Rapid City, South Dakota, and we ate at Perkins because it was the only thing open, and went to Mount Rushmore. So that was pretty star-spangled awesome. Can you top that? Probably?
No, I can't. I can have sent down from the LA Kings to New Haven Nighthawks, and Thanksgiving at Howard Johnson's. I don't think they exist anymore. Whatever they fancied up as a turkey dinner on my own back in the AHL.
Well, I'm glad you topped that this past week. For the Silver Knights, they had their Thanksgiving on the road. They did have dinner as a team, which was nice, but then the rest of the weekend, not what they wanted, and it started in Ontario in a game where you can probably say, even in a game where they scored 3 goals, they had the lead in the third period briefly, but they did have it. Probably the second time this season, and the first since opening night against Abbotsford, that you could say they got goalied by Phoenix Copley.
Played great. I mean, he really did, and he's done that at both levels, AHL and NHL, for the LA Kings. He really stepped in a couple seasons ago and did that. Did that against Henderson Silver Knights on the weekend. That's the kind of game you want to get a point out of, at least, because it's not just that you had the lead for a short period of time. You had it with a short period of time left to go in the game, just a little over 5 minutes, and couldn't hold it.
And then gave up 2 goals. I think it was 58 seconds apart between Angus Booth and Cole Gutman that gave the Reign the 4-3 win. It was Carter Hart's final rehab start with the Silver Knights. He went 1-2 in his 3 starts. Only saw 16 shots in Ontario, so tough to not be able to come away with a point, as you said. The third goal for Angus Booth is a blast from distance that I'm sure Carter Hart would want another shot at, but there was traffic. The deflection by Cole Gutman, nothing he could do about that. But only having faced 16 shots, the box score maybe a little more deceiving than what Carter did.
Yeah, he had a few real quality saves early in the third, so that the Reign didn't take the lead on their own. On that goal, the tying goal, it was a kind of a bouncing puck that got out, not all the way to the point, but between the top of the circle and the blue line. Booth, he hammers it, but to me, Carter Hart was a little bit deep in his crease on that one. And, as the rust falls off his game, like you said, he'd like to try that one again, but he's going to have to try it in the National Hockey League.
That's coming pretty soon, it does sound like. Tanner Lazinski had 2 goals in Ontario, 5 points over the last 3 games, including Bakersfield, who was held off the sheet. But he's been just so consistently good for the Silver Knights, and so much of it is just good sticks in the middle of the ice. It's not coast-to-coast rushes all the time. It's not finesse. It's not flair. It's being on pucks quickly and just having a firm stick down low to finish.
And he's a smart player. He's a veteran player, and you can see that he's adding layers to his game, because that's the kind of game when he does get called up, which I think he will this year. He's playing too well. If the situation calls for it, maybe the next call-up at forward. But those are the things that translate well to the National Hockey League that he's gotten better at over the last year and a half.
Yeah. The game on Saturday in Bakersfield it's just...
We have to cover that?
It's a continuation of what's just been uncanny. And we talked with Jamie Heward before the game on Saturday in Bakersfield. Talked about a couple of topics, and we'll get to more than one, but now the Silver Knights have not won in their last 15 visits now to Bakersfield, which is unbelievable.
It is. You think you'd fall on one. You trip over one just somehow.
And what Jamie Heward said was, it's just a wacky building where it just seems like sometimes we just don't have our best, as any team will over the course of what we're talking about just a couple of years. But sometimes it's a broken stick in a bad spot or a bounce off the end wall or whatever. It always seems like something goes wrong. This game was not that. This game, the Silver Knights fell behind 5-0. They had 4 goals in the third period, so a nice push at the end to make a run at it. But they fall 7-4 on teddy bear toss night in Bakersfield. And they give up the teddy bear toss goal to Seth Griffith in the first 5 minutes. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to give it up, I'd rather give it up early and let the rain delay kind of kill momentum and see if you can kind of get a reboot.
Yep.
But they didn't get that.
No, they didn't. And, 5-0, and it was all of that. I mean, it was one of those games where you just collectively, and there were some good bounces for Bakersfield, but again, it wasn't that. Coverage seemed slow. The guys weren't as sharp defensively as they've been pretty much the entire season. So it was a game that was not their best effort from what their base has been, and their base has been defending well.
Seth Griffith had 2 goals, and Seth Griffith is the Silver Knights killer in the Pacific Division. Trying to remember off the top of my head, I think that's 53 points now he has in 44 games against the HSK. So whether Griffith is having a rip-roaring start or not, he's had a nice start to the season, but he always goes to a different level against the Silver Knights. He started things off, and that's something they need to find an answer for. Yeah,
I mean, you know that going in, but it doesn't seem like what do you focus on when you go to a building where you've lost 15 straight?
Yeah.
Is it Seth Griffith or yourself?
And the Condors as a whole, because now again, the Silver Knights now in the midst of a stretch of 4 straight games against the Condors. The Condors are going to play Tucson on Wednesday, so they'll have a change of pace in between.
Right.
But for the Silver Knights, it's 4 straight against Bakersfield, followed by 3 straight against San Diego. It's been a very weird schedule in the first half of the season. But for the Silver Knights, facing a Condors team, it's not just the Silver Knights that are having trouble in Bakersfield. Historically, yes. But the Condors are now 7-0-1 at home, compared to 1-6-3 on the road. So the Silver Knights very excited to welcome them to Lee's Family Forum.
And hopefully give them the welcome that they deserve.
But it's a crazy home road split for a team a quarter of the way into the season.
It is, and they have veterans on that team too, so you would expect that will normalize a bit on the road. You hope it's not this weekend.
Yeah. And Quinn Hudson is leading all AHL rookies in goal scoring. He had 2 against the Silver Knights. He now has 4 in 2 games against the Silver Knights, so keep an eye on Quinn Hudson as well. But, I noticed over the weekend, it seems to be, as a goaltender, I'm curious your thoughts. Silver Knights gave up a power play goal against Taylor Ward on Friday in Ontario. It's a carom off an active end boards that comes back in front. Ward finds it and finishes. Seth Griffith opened the scoring off of an active end board bounce. We've seen that happen a handful of times this season in a variety of buildings. Now, first of all, sometimes a lively carom is a lively carom, but I wonder if is there any way to defend against that? Because sometimes a shot that's wide is more dangerous than a shot that's on net, the way things have gone for the HSK.
Yeah, it's that wide side carom where it comes from the left side and comes out the right side, or vice versa. It's really incumbent on the goaltender because what happens is if you're anchored, taking on the shot, which you should be, but if you're over aggressive, which Eichmann might have been a little bit in Bakersfield, you can't get over there. But we'll see Carl Lindbaum back in the fold. Watch his crease coverage. It's much more fluid on those kinds of plays because there's a retreat to the weak side post, so at least you have a chance to be in position for the save instead of having to do the Superman, which very rarely works.
But when it does, you're on TV all night long.
That's right.
You mentioned Carl Lindbaum's return to the Silver Knights. He got his first NHL win before heading back.
Congratulations.
Well-deserved, because he played better than the record would indicate during his time up there. Didn't necessarily get the run support on a regular basis, but good for him to get that win for his sake, and also for a little bit of a shot of confidence coming back into the HSK lineup. When you look at the Silver Knights, they've gotten good goaltending over the last month and a half that they've been without him, but it's been a little bit of a rotating door. We saw some Cameron Whitehead, of course, Carter Hart. It would be nice for the Silver Knights to have stability in that battery again. And of course, we know what Carl Lindbaum can do at the AHL level, and that would be a nice shot in the arm for the HSK.
I'm expecting it to be that because I think Carl Lindbaum will come full of confidence. He'll have things to work on in practice that Sean Burke and Freddie Braswaite will match notes on, and he'll continue to refine his game because he played very well. He went from excellent to good. It was an 18-game stint, with he and Schmid. So that's a pretty long sample. The 18 games that you had down here, like it's the same kind of window, and you probably had the same kind of leveling effect where, like you got through at a certain point. For the Vegas Golden Knights, they went 6-6-6 over that span. So that's as vanilla as it gets at the NHL level. So I think coming to HSK, they could go on a run with Carl Lindbaum and what he did up there.
Could be help for the penalty kill too for the Silver Knights. That's one area that's been struggling a little bit. Silver Knights were shorthanded 5 times over the weekend. They gave up 4 power play goals. So that's obviously a rough weekend, and they've fallen down to the lower third of the league in that category. I was talking to you about this yesterday a little bit. I wonder sometimes we talk about power play that's struggling. And a coach might say, we're not drawing a lot of power plays, so we're not getting that many in-game reps to get right. It's not something that a coach would ask for, but the Silver Knights are the least penalized team in the American Hockey League.
That's a good thing.
Well, absolutely, with what their penalty kills been doing of late as well, in tight games.
Right.
But I do wonder if part of the challenges for them is that they're just not killing that much. And when they are out there, obviously they're not having success.
Could be something to it. They can't get in a rhythm, haven't really been, at the best, they were middle of the pack even when the team was stringing together wins. So it hasn't been a strength per se, but I don't think, as you said, you want to go and say, you know what, let's take 8 penalties tonight just so we can get some rhythm in the game.
We figure it out tonight.
Tonight or bust. No, that's not the case. A lot of times it's about getting a couple of kills, a couple of saves, a little more. Like the VGK this year has gone to more up ice pressure, try to be more disruptive up the ice. I'd still like them to be a little more aggressive in their zone, but that's just me. Both teams a little more passive once the puck is set up and in the zone.
And Silver Knights without Jacob Megna on Saturday. He's called up to the VGK now, so may still be without him when the next weekend comes around. That's significant in that conversation as well. Next segment we're going to have Trevor Connelly on, so we'll talk to Trevor a lot about his play. But boy, has he had a phenomenal start to the season. He had his point streak end in Bakersfield on Saturday, but that was a game in which he had a breakaway. He had 2 or 3 grade A chances. And he was a crossbar away from tying the game in Ontario in the final seconds the night before. So he's just dangerous all the time.
And what's impressed me, I know he has 19 shots in his 6 games. So he's not shy to shoot. That doesn't count that crossbar. But he's a playmaker too. He'll make the right play at the right moment if it requires to be a teammate receiving the puck.
Silver Knights have 3 more to come against the Condors, as we mentioned, 2 this weekend at Lee's Family Forum, and then they'll head back out to Bakersfield on the following Wednesday for their final game of the season at Dignity Health Arena, and hoping to snap the curse that is over them there. But it's a very interesting schedule, as mentioned again. It'll be 3 straight against San Diego after that. And kind of makes it difficult if you're trying to find your footing. Silver Knights have 3 wins in their last 10.
Right.
And Jamie Heward said before the game in Bakersfield, he actually said, I hope our guys realize how well they're playing, because there have been a lot of outcomes like in Ontario, giving up 16 shots, scoring enough to win, and just not finding a way. So 4 straight against an opponent, you make of it what you can, but sometimes that can be a challenge too, especially when it's a Bakersfield team that's won, I think, 6 in a row now against the Silver Knights going back to last year.
And then you have 3, again, against a singular opponent.
Right.
It's hard to...
There's redundancy.
Right, and so the standings, it's tough to move up or down.
Yeah.
And right now you're looking to move up a little bit, even though you had that real good October.
Right now, 5 points separating 3rd place and 9th place. Right. So it is a logjam in the Pacific. Colorado's had a great season thus far, and San Jose, I think, has points in 9 of their last 10. They've had a surge. But there's a lot of bunched up there. And for the Silver Knights now, through that quarter mark, they are 9-8-1 this season compared to 4-14-0 at the same time last year. So Silver Knights happy where they are and trying to continue climbing up.
Much better place. And I think, as Coach Heward was alluding to, you have to be happy with the way the team is playing, because to me, they've been so consistent defensively. You throw out maybe 2 games where you go, But overall, that base has been there, and then the offense ebbs and flows based on power play production and things like that.
Friday and Saturday at Lee's Family Forum, Silver Knights and Condors. I believe Friday is a season ticket member exclusive Silver Knights Christmas tree ornament. And then Saturday, the first 1,500 fans will get a lucky Christmas tree topper.
Yep.
So yeah, if you have the star on top of yours, or mine was an angel household growing up.
Ours was an angel.
Yeah, well, now it's going to be a bedazzled horse.
Exactly.
So make sure you get there early to get yours. And of course, Lucky Launch coming middle of the month as well. We'll talk about that later on the program, but lots to look forward to at Lee's Family Forum. Make sure you get your tickets at HendersonSilverKnights.com. We'll hop out. When we come back, Trevor Connelly hops on the couch. He'll join us. We're horsing around.
The puck again, and Hallam takes it away and dumps it deep. Osley behind his own net, challenged by Sapovalev. Now Euronin comes in to help, forces a turnover, near wall. Cormier has it, cycles it back in low. Sapovalev fed it in front. Rombjerg, a shot, scores! Matthias Sapovalev and Tuomas Euronin did the work on the forecheck, and Rombjerg found it in front to give the Silver Knights a 3-1 lead.
Back at AFC, we're horsing around. Brian McCormick, Darren Elliott, and joined by Silver Knights rookie forward Trevor Connelly, who's having a great start to his AHL season and got some pretty good news this week as well. Named to the preliminary roster for the U.S. World Junior team. Congratulations, Trevor. You were part of that team last year, and I'm sure you're excited to get going again.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. It was such a great event last year. I had so much fun, and just can't wait to be back there with my boys.
With that, being in the U.S., more exciting, more pressure, both?
I think more exciting. I think it was fun playing in Canada last year, especially winning in Canada, I think was super fun. So, yeah, I'm super excited to be in home soil, and it's just going to be such a great event. I think Minnesota has great hockey fans. They're known for their high school hockey, and just super pumped to get out there.
Well, there's a lot to look ahead to, but while we're on the topic, let's look back. You won a gold medal last year on Canadian soil, which probably made it all the sweeter, but just tell us about what that experience was like, winning a World Juniors, not just being on the international stage, but of course playing against some of the best in the world.
Yeah, I think it's a lifetime experience. Like, I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. I had made so many friends there, met so many new people, and just the bond I had with that group. Like, I've never honestly been thrown with a team for just 3 weeks and been so close to the group of guys. I still talk to so many of those guys every day, and we still talk in the group chat all the time. So it's just such an awesome event. You play against the best players your age from all over the country, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm super honored to go back again this year.
Are you embracing the fact that as a returning player, they'll probably be asking a lot of you?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I want to be a leader there. I want to have a big role on and off the ice. So I think we have some really talented 07s this year there as well. So just kind of show them the ropes for next year for them to be the older guys as well. And I think our returning group this year was such an awesome group of guys, like Hagen, Zeiserman, Brody Ziemer, Teddy Steger, all guys that I'm super excited to play with again.
Cool. And it's a U.S. team that's won back-to-back gold medals, so going for 3 in a row. You're a young guy, you've been part of it, but at the same time, it's history that predates you a bit. Are you cognizant of how much of a leap USA hockey has made at the junior level over the course of the last decade, 15 years, just how much it's caught up to the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think last year USA won like almost every main event with the men's worlds, World Juniors. I think they close on the U18s.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just like even when I played my 2 years in the USHL, like the league was so competitive. Like I think we had 4 or 5 first-round picks that year. Like just USA hockey has been improving, and it just keeps getting better. So it's awesome to see.
Now you're a first-round draft pick, so obviously for the last 4 or 5 years at minimum, you've known you're pretty good at hockey. But I do wonder, when you have an opportunity to be in the mix for a national team at the junior level, I mean, there's talented kids all over the country. So at what point in your career, were you 15, were you 16, when you found out I'm not the best kid in my town, I'm not one of the best kids in my district. I've got a much broader reach than that.
Yeah, I think that Helenka Gretzky tournament, it was my first USA event that I played and played internationally, and just seeing all the talent on Canada, Sweden, it was eye-opening for me. Like, just some of those kids were like, they even had some 07s that I was like, holy cow, these kids are even a year younger than me and they're playing better than me out here. So it's so impressive. Those events, you see so many good players on the ice and you learn so much from guys that you play against, and it's really cool.
So from the USHL, you choose Providence. Take me through that path there.
Yeah, I think it was hard. It was such a hard path to pick a school, and
I just had lots of options.
I had a couple. I just think my dad's from Boston. He's one of 7, so I had family at every game. I kind of knew I wanted to go out east. Kind of since I was younger, I always wanted to go out east and just be around family and stuff. But I think I just felt like their coaching staff kind of supported me the best and kind of was going to give me the best for my game. And I had a couple of guys that I played juniors there with. One guy, Tanner Adams, who did the same path as me, went into the USHL at 16, played his 17 year, and then went as a true freshman. So just kind of talking with him about that and stuff. And he made me feel super comfortable about my decision. And I was able to live with him and another guy, Graham Gamache, who I played with in juniors as well. So I think just kind of everything added up, and I just felt most comfortable going there.
That's true freshman stuff, right?
For sure,
because you had that and the World Junior at the same time, and then you turned pro. Kind of a whirlwind season.
A lot happened last year.
Yeah, it was a crazy year. I mean, just even being like drafted, it was like, it's just like you dream of it as a kid. Like that last year was like, it was like just honestly one of the best years of my life. I mean, so many different hockey events. I love the game more than anything. I say I'm a hockey nerd, like always watching hockey, always doing stuff.
It can last a lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, last year, just being able to get here at the end of the year too, like, I feel like it set me up for success this year. Like, I really feel like those 6 games at the end of the year have just made me kind of feel more comfortable at the start of this year.
I will call you a hockey nerd because you are the classic example of, I can picture, your parents having to call you off the pond when the lights went out for dinner. Like every time you're on the ice, you're the last guy off. It's recess to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can never have a bad time on the ice or anything. Like when I was younger, I have a little brother who's 2012 who we do when we're home. We're rollerblading in the driveway, trying new stick tricks. Like I have so much love and passion for the game. So anytime I can be on the ice, it's not a bad time.
So I was going to ask you about the importance of those games from last year, and you already referenced them. What did it teach you to get you ready for this year, being here with Henderson Silver Knights last year?
Yeah, I think just how detailed you have to be in your game, on the wall, breakouts, defensive zone, more structured. And I felt like playing with better players like pushed me to be better as well. Like I felt like when I got here, I had a chance to play with Braden Bowman, who's having a lot of success with the Knights, and he was just one of my favorite line mates I've ever played with and taught me so much. He's such a good guy off the ice. So I think playing with him and Kai, 2 guys who were younger guys in their first year at the end of the year, really helped me and kind of taught me things. And I kind of watched them and saw how they had success in this league, and I think it helped me as well.
How do you feel this year after such a good start after the injury?
I feel great. I'm just happy to be back on the ice. Those 3 months off the ice where it was hard. It was really hard mentally. I just want to be out there. Like couldn't shoot, couldn't do anything for a couple months. So, but I think my time in the gym and my time with Jeff Conkle just helped me so much. I mean, I spent most of my summer with him as well, and we really wanted to focus on strength. And I think I'm not getting knocked off pucks as much and just things like that. So, I think the strength part, I think maybe the injury, it sucked, but I think also it was also a good thing for me because I gained a lot of weight, got stronger and stuff. So I did feel like a different player getting back on the ice this year.
And then that is a thing for fans to understand, the idea of good weight. And you spent the summer trying to pack that on.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, even when I was out with my injury, me and Conks were just coming up with crazy different meals to just put on weight, eating cookies, eating milkshakes, just everything. Like, I'm super skinny. I've always been skinny and have kind of fast metabolism. So just as much stuff as I can get in my body before I was getting back on the ice would be good. And I've been able to maintain that weight, so I've been super happy with that.
So I've got the cookie and milkshake program down. I've got it perfected. I do wonder, though, because last spring you got those games in with the HSK. You scored a goal. You're the youngest player to score a goal in Silver Knights history. And you're still young. But with all the things that we've talked about, international play, college, turning pro when you did, I wonder, do you feel young?
I'd say I definitely do feel young. Yeah, I think talking to my brother every day, my little brother every day, helps me stay young. But I think I've definitely matured a lot over these past couple of years, just going into college young, being here young. I mean, this is like, it's a job now for me, so I guess I definitely think I feel young, but I definitely also matured a lot.
You called yourself a hockey nerd, you and your younger brother. You play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I played, me and my parents always tried to get us into as much. I was a super competitive tennis player when I was young.
Okay.
I still love tennis. I played baseball. Like, that's how I met all my good buddies from back home.
Yeah.
Baseball, and yeah, I mean, in the summer, me and my brother are playing soccer,
That's awesome.
golf. I'm a huge golf guy now. I used to hate it when I was younger, but I've learned to love it over the past couple of years. And now my little brother's going out 3 times a week, walking since he can't drive a car. So it's just awesome. I mean, I think playing different sports as a kid helped me stay, like, I wasn't always so hockey focused, so it made me love the game more now.
Yeah, you know, and we've talked about this with other guys that have sat on the couch here in the Lucky Lounge, and almost all the guys played other sports. And then you try to tell parents of young kids now that that's a good thing, and they look at you like, maybe not, but it really is. From the point you just made, it makes you miss the game, you know, right?
For sure.
It's like, it's hockey season, you get all excited. I think if you play 12 months a year, you lose a little bit of that.
For sure. So I definitely think like playing as many sports as I did when I was younger kind of helped me just kind of always keep my love for the game and never like burned me out,
Right.
I'd say.
Now, there are different kinds of hockey nerd. I'm gonna keep, you brought it up. I'm going to keep using the term. But there are different types. I've known some players who are phenomenal players, and then you say, do you want to watch the game tonight? And they say, why would I watch it? I just did hockey all day. There's a difference between being on the ice, stick in their hands, and sitting on the couch and watching it. And there's some who enjoy both. Do you put the games on at 4 and turn them off at 10, or are you more of a skates on your feet hockey guy?
I'd say I'm both. I'm like, when I was out, I think I watched just about every college hockey game that was on every Friday, Saturday. It's still, after every game I play here, the first thing I do is go check the college scores. Just, I watch as much. I'm going to go to the Knights game tonight, so just try and watch as much. I think you learn so much watching the NHL and even college with the CHL now. There's so many talented players, so I think as much as I can watch the game, I just keep learning, and it's never a bad thing.
Do you take the challenge on when they talk about you as a driver of offense? Do you see yourself that way, even though you're a winger, that you drive offense when you're on the ice?
Yeah, I think so. I think I want the puck on my stick as much as I can. And I'd say I'm a playmaker too. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a shoot-first guy. I think I just love having the puck on my stick. Maybe sometimes I call for it when I'm not supposed to, but I'm very confident in myself with the puck, and yeah, I'd love to drive the play as well.
We've seen your playmaking ability so far this season, and you're right. You make the right decision, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And this week, Trevor, again, you've had points in 5 straight. You hit a crossbar in Ontario late. You had a breakaway in Bakersfield. Even when the puck's not going in, you're getting chances all the time. And you're the type of player, it seems like the puck follows you around. And whenever we ask a coach about that, he says, well, the puck follows you around if you're where you're supposed to be. Do you find that the puck tends to follow you around? And is there something that you do that causes it?
I think so. I think just always trying to be supporting the puck. I think maybe sometimes I can stay away from it, but I think as much as I can, I try and be around the puck and try and just find different areas to get open, get not open. I think I struggled with in the USHL was like I kind of just skate to the puck, and now I'm kind of skating away from it, finding more soft areas to get the puck. So I think this year I've really done a good job at just kind of finding those soft areas and stuff. And my dad, he still picks me apart after every game. We have great conversations. I think I definitely would not be the same player, or even close to the same player I am now without him. Like, we have great conversations. I call my parents after every practice, tell them about how practice was and everything. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think, like, my dad is like the one person who, if I didn't have him, I would not be the same player. He's awesome. Even my little brother's going through it now. He's like, I don't want to drive home with Dad after a game and stuff. So I used to be the same way. Yeah, he did. He played at Elmira D3, and he grew up playing in Needham High School, and he coached me until I was 12 years old. Just finished coaching my brother, so yeah, it's been awesome.
Now, I know you know whose instruction to listen to in the proper forums, but I'm curious how often when you call Dad after the game, how often what he says and what Coach Craig says is the same or different?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think my dad never tries to really say anything system-based or anything like that. It's just
he
more
knows
like,
his lane.
Yeah, for sure.
And he knows your game.
For sure, yeah. And my dad knows my game better than anyone. So I think just kind of like that breakaway that I had on Saturday at Bakersfield, he's like, why didn't you take that to your forehand? And in the moment, I was like, I thought I had a guy on me, and I watched the video back, and I was like, could have taken that to my forehand.
Hey, see, I'm glad you brought that up. Not the breakaway in particular, but that concept, because I've always wondered this. Players watch so much tape, and you know your talent, you know your success, you know your comfort levels, but I wonder how often you watch a playback on video with Coach Kreger, Coach Kissio, and what you see on tape isn't what you lived in real time. Whereas you say, like, I didn't think I had time to make that play at all, and I had 8 feet. Like, is that part of the learning curve of the pro game as well, of just finding out what time you have out there?
For sure. I think, like, from watching my shifts back over from these first 6 games, like, I think you don't realize you do have more time and space than you think you do. Like, you don't have to rush things. Like, even today, like, just in the power play, like, I tried just, like, kind of like not forcing a play as much and just like hanging out, like looking for pass options, and I think it opens up more when you don't rush yourself. I think like there's so many good players on the ice, especially on our team, like so many talented guys. So the more you can kind of just be patient and look for guys, I think the better it's going to work out.
You have an interesting path through youth hockey to me, and for fans who are watching. I think most of our fans will have an idea, okay, at 16 years old, maybe a kid might have to leave home and go out to the Midwest for the USHL or other junior options. You, born in California, played your midget hockey you're in Hackensack, New Jersey,
Yep.
I think, and then you were on Long Island. Like,
Yep.
if a player had left home to go to Belle Tire or Little Caesars, people would say, oh, I've heard of that happening before. I don't think many people have heard of players going cross country to play for the Long Island Gulls. Like, how do you make those decisions?
Yeah,
I know, but
I got contacted with the Avs. My 2 advisors have really good, strong connection there, and they actually coached there when they were like just out of their playing careers. So I think that was kind of the connection there. And then Long Island, the coaching staff had moved over from New Jersey to Long Island.
Okay.
And so that was kind of a thing. And my U14 year, I had the chance to play in Italy when I was younger and got super close with Cole Hudson.
Yeah.
And so he was on my U14 Avalanche team. So I think that was another thing. I wanted to play with him again, just such a special player. So yeah, it was crazy. I mean, being away from home that young was hard. But I think it really did teach me a lot of things about myself and just the real world, and definitely matured me as well.
It's got to take maturity, because again, there's some kids in their sophomore year of high school, like, do I want to move to Waterloo? But you're considering Italy before then. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
not just a maturity, but there's got to be a real level-headedness of just trusting your play. And obviously you got to trust your parents and your advisors that they know what's best for you.
For sure. I'm seeing it now with my little brother. He's 13 now, and he's going to go away next year. And I think it's a little different with him. He's kind of different personalities, and one of my parents will probably go with him. But, I mean, I think being from California, like, if you play AAA hockey there, you play 9 games in a season. You play 3 against the Kings and 3 against the Sharks. So I think my dad, just so much credit to him, wanted to get us out, wanted us to get real exposure and play against better kids. So I give a lot of credit to my dad and my advisors.
You've mentioned your brother a couple of times, so of course you guys are close. 13, you said, should he be on our radar for 4 or 5 years from now?
Yeah, he's a stud. I think he's even smarter than I was at that age. Like, he's ridiculous. I'll go watch him. I'm like, how does he see this stuff?
Is he a forward as well?
Yeah, we're different. Like, he's very undersized for his age, very small and stuff. So he really has to use his brain and stuff. And he's a special player, and I enjoy watching him so much, and just having a little brother that plays is so much fun. Like, I love it. It's awesome. We go back. He's finally at an age where we can like 1v1 each other on the driveway and rollerblades and stuff. So it's a blast. I love him more than anything. So it's awesome.
Is he calling you? He's like, what were you doing on that breakaway? You got to go forehand on that.
Yeah, he was talking to me. He was like, Dad didn't think, or he was texting me after that break. He was like, I didn't think you could have gone to your backhand. Me and Dad were battling the whole rest of the game about it. So it's just stuff like that. And he's the same way. Like, he'll tape 4 of his sticks at home every day. Like, just little things. Like, he used to wake up before school at 6 in the morning, shoot pucks. Just, he loves the game, and we were worried about that when he was younger. He didn't love it as much, and then over the past 3 years, he's just grown into such a great player and just has so much love for the game now. So it's awesome to see.
That's the age where kids, it's fun, and then they'll define fun differently. Do you like the extra?
Yeah.
Not everybody does, but if you do, you have a chance.
For sure.
Well, you've mentioned a lot of hockey, a little tennis, a little golf has mixed its way in, but very hockey-centric. Are there any other hobbies? It doesn't sound like there's a lot of time outside the hockey, but is there anything else you do when you're not here?
Golf. I live with Joe Fleming, and Lucas Cormier lives 20 seconds away from us. I think us three are together for literally, if we're not sleeping, we're with each other. So yeah, we're always watching stuff, watching games. We're going to go to the Knights game tonight. Just like we'll go shopping, just kind of explore. So yeah, I think it's been awesome. I think Corms is a guy that's been around here for the past 3 years, and last year I was able to grow a really good relationship with him, and he let me stay at his place during the summer as well to work out here. So yeah, he's been such a good guy to me, just kind of showing me the ropes, just kind of teaching me on and off the ice, and I love the guy. He's an awesome guy. He's fun to be around, and he's got such a great personality.
Well, before we let you go, you've had great success, and again, the World Juniors a couple of weeks away is going to be really exciting. This team right now, we're at the quarter mark of the season, a game above 500 in a playoff spot in the Pacific. It's too early to be doing any standings watching, but this team has had a good first quarter of the season. What do you think about this team, this group, and what they're capable of accomplishing this year?
It's such a special group. I mean, so many talented players. Our forwards are unbelievable. I think our D-corps is insane, and obviously we've had a couple different goalies, but I think you have trust in all the goalies. Even Whitey down in Tahoe is a stud. We've seen that earlier in the year, so this group's awesome. We compete. We have great group of older guys, great group of younger guys, and I honestly haven't had like this much fun on a team. And last year was great, but just being here, it's just a different feeling. I think all the guys love each other, always want to do stuff outside of the rink, and I give it credit to the older guys. Like sometimes it's intimidating for younger guys just being around those guys, and they're so awesome to us. They make an effort to do as much with us as we can, and just it's been awesome. It's a great group of guys and such a great coaching staff as well. I think Craigor's taught me so much already. Kiss, Huey, all the guys just have so much love for everyone in this organization.
Well, Trevor, it's been a terrific start to the season for you. We're looking forward to what's to come, including in Minnesota. We'll be watching that, but thanks for catching up with us and having some fun.
Thank you, guys. It's awesome to be on here.
Silver Knights forward Trevor Connelly. We'll hop out when we come back. FloHockey's Chris Peters gets us set for the World Juniors. That's straight ahead. We're horsing around.
Silver Knights stay after it. The left wing corner. Lazinski gets it back to the blue line. Tag, right point, Mayo, wrist shot, deflection, scores! Curry Prince flying at the forum, and the Silver Knights have a 1-0 lead. As it looks like Tanner Lazinski got the final touch.
Horsin around, Brian McCormick, Darren Elliott. We're going to talk some World Juniors, and to do so, we're joined by the content manager of FloHockey, Mr. Chris Peters. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. It's an exciting time of year, is it not?
It is the most exciting time of the year. I mean, I think when I think holidays, I think World Juniors, I think about all of it. So it's great to be with you guys. Really happy to be talking hockey and, getting ready for the best time of year.
Well, Chris, as you've covered the World Juniors for a long time, and you're an expert. So with the U.S. roster just being released this week, the preliminary roster, they'll trim it a little bit before Christmas. Initial impressions, because there are some big-time U.S. contributors off of back-to-back gold medal teams that have aged out, but there are plenty of returners from last year's squad as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing, and the thing that stands out the most for Team USA is that, they had back-to-back gold medals, but they've got 9 guys that they can potentially bring from last year's team. And, they talk a lot about how it's a 19-year-olds tournament. And when you have 19-year-olds that have experience and have already tasted success, I think that's a really big thing for any team. And, there are going to be some real holes to fill. Not having Trey Augustine, who was their goalie the last 3 World Juniors, is really going to be a big gap that they don't necessarily adequately fill, and really can't attempt to fill in the same way that Augustine was as one of the greatest goalies in World Junior history for USA. But I would say that having the experience that they have, having James Hagens, Trevor Connelly, Cole Eiserman, guys that played a contributing role, having 3 defensemen back from last year's team that can play big minutes for them, including Cole Hudson. There's a lot of really exciting things to look forward to. And, it's on home ice too. And you always wonder if that creates additional pressure, or does it create that extra motivation? And I think it'll probably be more the latter for this U.S. team, because they've been hearing people like me talking about, I don't know if this is going to be it this year for them, but but I think that, they have every reason to believe that they can compete and contend.
To that end, I know it's early. Can you handicap U.S. versus some of the other teams in the tournament?
Yeah, Darren, it's interesting. I think that you look at Canada, and they're always going to be a favorite no matter what. No matter what team they put on the ice, there's always going to be guys that are higher draft pedigree. Maybe they get a few guys from the NHL this year. Still remains to be seen. I think so. You're going to have that. I also think they've got a really great goaltending tandem. Carter George and Kovac, two guys that were on the team last year. That could be a real difference maker for them. The other team to really watch out for, and the one that USA is going to have to be real careful with because they're in their bracket, is Sweden. And Sweden's got a lot of top-end talent. They've got depth. They've got, good enough goaltending. So I think that that's going to be really one to watch. The forward group of Sweden is going to be as good as any team in this tournament, including Canada. A couple of high picks there, and a guy that's probably going to go real high in the next draft, and Ivar Stenberg. So those are two teams that I think the U.S. has to be most concerned with. You always have to worry about Finland as well. They're always competitive. They never have the pedigree of the other teams, yet they always find a way. And USA needed overtime to beat them last year. Their starting goalie, Petteri Rimponen, is back this year. So they've got a number of returnees that can help them a lot too. So always, I think that it usually comes down to about 5 teams in this tournament. USA still very much one of those 5 teams that are going to be competing and have an opportunity to win gold. And you got to be careful with the Czechs and the Slovaks. They always find a way to sneak one in one of the big games too. So a lot of excitement in terms of the overall competitiveness of the tournament.
There's 8 first-round picks on this USA roster. Just in a broader context, what USA Hockey has done, not just to win medals at the World Juniors, but to broaden the game in its totality. Seems like it's been a long time coming, and it's here now.
Yeah, I remember when I first started covering the tournament, I used to work at USA Hockey even before that. Yeah. It was kind of a hope to compete kind of situation at the World Juniors. Now it's anything less than gold is a disappointment. And that is a long way from where we were just 15, 20 years ago. I think back to John Carlson's iconic overtime winner in 2010, which was really what I think kind of set the wheels in motion for where we are today, where, U.S. had never won back-to-back gold medals. Now they have. And you've got players from all over the country contributing to those championships. And I think you look at some of those teams that have won golds, and you have the kids from California, you have the kids from Arizona and other places. And that's really impressive as well. I think, Darren, I know you've seen this from Michigan and everywhere else in the country. Youth hockey is at a level now where the player that is getting to junior hockey, college hockey, is better and more refined, and they've had more training, and the coaching has gotten better, and development has gotten better. And it's not perfect everywhere, but it is allowing for an environment for any future NHL players to really get top level training at younger ages. And so we see that with U.S. teams. They've closed that gap on the elite talent. Now it's a matter of just continuing to build the depth, because we're going to be in a little bit of a down period for USA in terms of draft capital. Like, there's a lot of first rounders on this team. There's probably not going to be as many on next year's team. So you're kind of looking at, where are they all going to fit in? But I do think that the World Juniors has become like this measuring stick that also allows USA Hockey to take a temperature of, hey, how are we developing players? And over the last decade, it has been a very good barometer when USA has won as many gold medals as Canada, and has been a continual threat to win gold. So it's amazing to see that shift over the years.
Chris, when you mentioned coaching and development, think of the individuals who have gained stardom during the World Juniors. Tons of players, of course, but David Carl as well, coaching back-to-back gold medal winners for Team USA. He's not behind the bench for this squad. It'll be Bob Motzko instead, who has coached this team before, going back a number of years. What impact can that have with the different voice behind the bench for this tournament?
Yeah, Brian, I think I think having Bob in particular, he's been at this tournament before. He did coach a gold medal team. He was the guy behind the bench when Troy Terry had his iconic shootout moments. And so, he's got gold medal success. On top of that, he understands the market. This is in Minnesota. It was always probably going to be a Minnesota-based coach that was going to take the reins there. And, I think that the foundation, he's going to be a very different voice than David Carl was. They do things differently. They operate differently. But they both have tremendous experience. They've won at this event, and so that's going to be really helpful to see. I think the thing that Bob knows, and that any coach that has had success at the World Junior knows, you got to be able to make adjustments. You can't stick. You can go in with a plan, but you have to be able to make adjustments. The tournament is always going to throw you curveballs, and having been through that really helps. They also have a really veteran coaching staff. Steve Miller is going to be behind the bench for what seems like the 3,000th World Juniors he's coached at. I don't know if the man ever has spent a Christmas at home, but he's going to be there helping with special teams. And you've got other coaches that have been in this tournament before, so that experience helps a lot. And then you lean on your leadership and the players that you're going to be bringing in, the guys like James Hagans, Brody Zemer, who plays at the University of Minnesota as a returning guy, Trevor Connelly, who's now played pro hockey. There's a lot of guys on this roster that can bring a little something different. It's on the head coach to bring that to the table. But yeah, I think this is a great event to kind of see how a coach handles the X's and O's, manages egos, does all the things, and pushes the right buttons in a really short period of time. It's kind of this hyper-focused situation, but it's really been, honestly, it's what makes the tournament so great and often unpredictable, is that there are going to be these curveballs, and there are going to be some coaches that can handle it, some that can't. There are going to be players that can handle it, some that can't. And at the end, they're not pros, most of them yet. So you're going to see some of those kind of things that could happen in that you might not see in the NHL, which does create a little bit of an element of surprise and excitement.
One of the things in the roster construction, going big picture again, Chris, so many of our college players, and with the changing landscape, with eligibility going to the Canadian Hockey League being available, I think there's only 6 players of the 28 that have taken that route. So that's kind of bodes well for USA Hockey as well, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see over the next couple of years how this all plays out in terms of where players are going. Talking about a World Junior roster, it's players that have played probably the bulk of the most important of their junior hockey and have moved on to college. But then you see guys like Chase Reed, who's draft eligible this year and is now going to be able to play, for Team USA if he makes the team, playing for the Sioux Greyhounds right now. And I think you're going to have to take players from kind of wherever they're at and whatever time they're at. And especially in these next couple of years when USA doesn't have necessarily the breadth of elite guys. So you're going to kind of pick and choose from different places. But I think in general, the success of the U.S. team at the World Juniors has really coincided with the growing success and development that we've seen at the collegiate level, which has become, a really attractive route. You're going to see a lot more NCAA players on Canada's roster than you would normally see in a given year too. So, because some of those players have made that decision, Gavin McKenna, Porter Martone, others that have gone the college route and now have put themselves in a position to, be big time players for this team. So I think you have to give a ton of credit to the coaches in the college landscape, the investment that colleges have put into athletics, particularly hockey, where it's not going to be the biggest sport. In some schools, it is the sport, but they put the resources in it and has allowed players to really flourish, get stronger, maybe not play as many games, maybe have more practice time, build skill development. The increase of coaches has helped too, where you can have guys that are good at different things and allow your team to have a little bit more balance in how they're coached. And so I think there's a lot of really positive things there that are going to lead, quite frankly, I think that's going to lead to an improvement in the AHL as well, because you're going to have guys that have had better development, are a little bit more prepared for pro hockey, and they come in ready to contribute as opposed to just trying to keep their head above water. So I think it's the way the landscape is going. There are going to be winners and losers, and there's going to be some pain points, and there's going to be some things that I think are troubling to some people. In the end, I think that we will end up with better players because they will have more developmental options available to them. which to me is only a good thing and will help the game overall.
Chris, let's talk a little bit about Trevor Connelly. Of course, Silver Knights fans interested in Trevor Connelly. He's got a point per game pace with the Silver Knights so far this AHL season and had 4 points in last year's tournament. Has a solid tournament for Team USA. But this is a U.S. team. Cole Yzerman is coming back. James Higgins is coming back. There is offensive firepower, but no Gabe Perreault, no Ryan Leonard. There is a goal-scoring gap to be made up. Is Connelly's role this time around perhaps a little bit different, maybe a little augmented compared to last year?
Yeah, I think they're going to lean on him quite a bit, and I think that having the pro experience that he does have is really important. He did play a pretty sizable role last time. He's going to be on one of their power play units. It remains to be seen if it's the first or second unit. He's going to be looked to as a driver on his line. When Trevor is at his best, he is driving play. He can drive play from the wing pretty well, and that's something that I think that they'll look for him to do in this tournament. Play with pace, play with speed, play with some aggression, get out there and be, a hard-nosed player on top of being a highly skilled player as he is. I think in the junior setting, having been in the pro setting and obviously, kind of got off to a late start because of the injury, he's going to find a little bit more time. He's going to find a little bit more space, which I think is for a player like him, really almost a cheat code. So he can really make a big difference. He's got to come in, prepared to play kind of that offensive leadership role. It's still going to be, James Higgins' team and Cole Yzerman's team. But there's a large chunk of this that is going to be owned by Trevor Connelly, and he's going to be asked to do, big things for this team. So I think it's a great learning experience for any player, especially starting off so early in his pro career, that he, is looked to as that guy. And if you have success in that role, that builds confidence. It will allow him to come back a little bit stronger. Maybe he'll be able to do some more things that, feel a little more confidence to do things at the pro level. So I think if you're watching Team USA, keep a very close eye on Connelly, because I do think that there's a good chance he's going to be, if they're going to be successful, he's going to have a pretty significant hand in that.
Chris, last one before we let you go. The entire tournament is phenomenal. Every day you're getting great matchups. As you mentioned, the U.S.-Finland matchup is always more interesting than maybe we even think going in, but we're always geared up for U.S.-Canada. And we've talked about the pressure that could be on Team USA playing in Minneapolis. We've talked about the gap that the U.S. has closed in recent years in international competition. One thing we haven't really talked about is for Canada. They're going to have Gavin McKenna, who is the presumptive first overall pick, the consensus first overall pick in the next draft, among a loaded roster for Canada. But it was a disappointing season for them, or World Juniors for them last year. I think we kind of forget that, the World Championships. Going into the Four Nations, Team Canada was under a lot of heat. And I think maybe the victory in Four Nations kind of erased that from our memories a little bit. What kind of pressure is on Canada heading into this tournament?
I mean, particularly for Hockey Canada, the pressure is pretty significant. Having two ousters in the quarterfinals back-to-back, especially last year on home ice, isn't going to be viewed too kindly. I mean, you think about the fact that they had Gavin McKenna last year, they had Macklin Celebrini the year before, and didn't have much to show for it. That's going to put pressure on the decision makers. And, I think the other thing that they're contending with right now is they're going to have a lot of absences at the NHL level, like guys that are not going to get loaned back to them, which, at least it gives them a bit of an excuse, but still the field overall, not necessarily as strong. So it should really be Canada's to lose once again. And they certainly always feel like it's their tournament to win. So the pressure is pretty significant. I think they felt it quite a bit last year. And losing to the Czechs again in the quarterfinals on home ice was a pretty devastating blow. And, going into the Olympics, I don't know if it translates to other events, but it's certainly not help. They're not feeling great about where things are internationally when they've always been in a position of strength. So, I think the thing is that it's always going to be more competitive now, especially at the World Junior level. It's not just theirs that they get to walk through anymore. And so how do you adjust to that? How do you build your teams to that? And I think in some cases in the last couple of years, they've overthought it. They've misused players. And then all of a sudden it's, they're asking questions afterwards when it's like everybody on the outside's like, I think I got a pretty good idea what happened there. So that's kind of an interesting thing that goes there. So I think that there's a lot of pressure on them. The U.S. has never won this tournament on home soil. So that's the other thing. It's the 50th anniversary of the World Juniors. So nothing would please Canada more than to ruin that party and kind of get things going. And, I hope we get to see a USA-Canada game. The tournament is always better when we have it. We could have had it because Canada was supposed to be in USA's bracket, but the tournament host gets some flexibility, and I think maybe with some ticket sales in mind, they put Canada over in the Minneapolis side of the bracket, and USA's in the St. Paul side. So hopefully we get to see them in the playoff round. Hopefully it's like the semifinals or the gold medal game. Those are always the best ones, and they're such a treat to be a part of, and always get some instant classics. So a lot of pressure to go around. You've got the hosts and then the team that's, back-to-back no medals, which just doesn't really happen. You can be sure that the tensions will be high once the puck drops in St. Paul and Minneapolis.
Well, pressure for the players, but hopefully none for you. Hopefully it's just fun for Chris Peters because we know you'll be all over it.
It's the easiest job in the world. The storylines kind of write themselves, and you just point a camera and write things down and hope it all goes well. But yeah, I can't wait. It's such a blast to cover, and this year should be no different.
Well, tremendous insights, Chris. We appreciate your time, and we'll definitely be following your work. A couple weeks to rev up for it, but the World Juniors on the way. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Chris Peters, FloHockey. We'll hop out. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. We're horsing around.
Out. Right side, Bowman looking, side of the net for McLean. Backhander scores!
Back to the Lucky Lounge, horsing around. Brian McCormick and Darren Elliott. Great catching up with Trevor Connelly. And great catching up with Chris Peters. There's so much to look forward to with the World Juniors. It really is one of the most fun times of year, right around Christmas, and so much great hockey.
In Canada, it's been a tradition for a long time. You get ready for the World Juniors. Boxing Day, special day after Christmas, it kicks off, and everybody really looks forward to that time of year.
Now, I love watching it regardless. There is always just a little extra electricity when it's in North America.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
My favorite thing about it, too, is it's players of that age. These are all most first-round draft picks, soon-to-be first-round draft picks. And if they're not first-round draft picks, they've had such great seasons following their draft that they're national team members. There's so much talent.
Yep.
But at that age, the 20-year-old forward develops a lot faster than the 20-year-old defenseman. So even with the best young defenseman in the world on the ice,
yep,
you're still getting jailbreak 2-on-1s in every direction every 5 minutes.
And part of the reason is the best defensemen at 20 are usually offensive defensemen. They're considered the best because of their offensive gifts, their skating and those kinds of things. They have to learn the nuances of defending.
Well, Team USA has won back-to-back gold medals and a good-looking roster, so we look forward to that right after Christmas, Boxing Day, as you said. Let's talk a little NHL. We haven't had a chance to do that on this couch. Golden Knights are hanging in there, and part of the reason that they're hanging in there right now is that, boys, the Pacific Division just so different than what fans maybe are just accustomed to presuming in terms of looking at the calendar and saying, all right, there's a win, there's a tough one. In the past, you'd look at games against San Jose, Anaheim, you'd chalk those up as easy wins. And, I mean, there's a changing of the guard right now in the National Hockey League where some of these young teams are ready to take that step, at the very least, to be competitive. And some of the teams that have been those standard bearers for a long time are really struggling for the first 2 months.
Yeah, and if you look at last year's team that won the division, the VGK, they were 16-0-1, something like 16-0-2 against Anaheim, San Jose, Vancouver, right? So their 5 losses were three to LA Kings and 2 to Edmonton. So they garnered all the points possible against the teams that were rebuilding. Well, those rebuilds, for some of them, have come to fruition. Anaheim looks real.
Yeah.
They've got Dostal in goal. They got Leo Carlson down the middle.
And they're not just youth; they've added the right veterans to
veterans, but also to me, the youth, like Carlson, has arrived.
Yeah,
and he's not. He's just going to be a star in this league. And some of the younger players around him are like that. And all of a sudden, oh, Troy Terry. Oh, yeah, remember, he was a good player when they weren't a very good team. Now he's, again, very productive. So they have some depth. They've done a good job building out their roster. I think they're legit. And they're, whereas San Jose, they might not make the playoffs, but they're going to make you work awfully hard to get points in games this year compared to the last couple of seasons.
And San Jose probably has what Montreal had, not even last year, but 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where you have, again, not just fun to watch, going to make everyone work for it, but you also have the confirmation that the building blocks that you're relying on are real. There's no busts to have to work around. Macklin Celebrini is real. Will Smith is real. Yaroslav Askarov looks real. And that lets them know that there aren't going to be any hitches in that trajectory they hope over the next year.
Right, and again, I call it, they talk about hockey, what's it take? It takes skill and will. Well, that's Celebrini and Smith. To me, they've got that covered. That's the new T-shirt.
Yeah, I was going to say, TM.
But the key piece as well, they made the trade to get Askarov in goal from Nashville. He wasn't happy there, kind of blocked by UC Saros. They make the trade. He comes in. He battled injury a little bit last year, inconsistency. He had a November to remember. And with that, San Jose, all of a sudden, they're scoring. And even against the Vegas Golden Knights. They were down 4-1. All of a sudden, it's 4-3. And like, uh-oh. I think it's a really good analogy. Montreal a couple of years ago. High pace. Young players are real. They just need a couple more years' experience, and they're going to be more than real.
And Chicago and San Jose, probably similar spot on the timeline.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think for the last couple of years, it's been an Eastern Conference focus of, okay, Montreal, Detroit, Ottawa, and
Buffalo perennially.
Buffalo, exactly. For sake of the argument, Buffalo all should have been ready to take the same step.
Right.
Montreal and Ottawa did. Detroit tried to and took a little too long to get there last year. Buffalo just didn't.
No.
This year, looks like Detroit is ready to make that step.
But they're still inconsistent.
Yes.
But
now there's a Western Conference mirror to that
there really is.
Bundling.
There
with
really is.
The teams we've talked about, throw Utah in there as well. There's a bunch of teams ready to make a push.
Yeah, and then you throw in Seattle. I'm not exactly sure what Seattle is, but they just seem to win even though they can't score. So something's going on. Joey Decord in goal, he's been excellent. But yeah, there's pockets of that all over. In the West, you've got Colorado, Dallas pretty much separating themselves with their consistency, as maybe not expected to be that good to that degree, but they are right now. Whereas Winnipeg, just about a 500 record, and now Connor Hellebuck is out.
Yeah.
So there's some questions now there, and Utah got off to that great start. And suddenly you're hearing rumors about, 5 years, the same coach. Not fair, because a few of those years didn't have much of a roster.
Right.
And so, but those starts to happen when expectations change. And you're trying to capture some of the excitement in Utah. And we built first year and it looked pretty good. You get off to a 7-0-1 start, and now you've lost, a handful of games in a row. And with raised expectations come those kinds of questions.
We're going to talk about Colorado, because how can you not if you're doing a first quarter review? But just to finish off this topic, if you have teams ascending, ready to make that push or at least be in that bubble conversation, to make room for them, well, someone's got to regress, someone's got to fall out of that conversation. And there are a few teams that have had some disturbing first quarters of the season. I think the Maple Leafs are very much alarmed. The Rangers didn't make the playoffs last year. It's just continuing to go in that direction, but still they think they should be better.
St. Louis
is having a lot of trouble. And then even teams that aren't having as much trouble. Boston's had a feisty first quarter. They're in the mix, but I don't know if anyone knows exactly what they are.
Geeky and Pasternak.
Edmonton has questions. Like, who do you believe is going to, because Edmonton had a second half surge last year to figure it out.
And the year before that. The thing
Who can figure it out?
Well, yeah, and I think the other thing with Edmonton, why I still kind of believe they'll be there once playoff positioning is set, is the fact that they played, 2/3 of their first 22 games or 21 games, 14-7, I think, on the road. I think their home-heavy schedule, when it evens out, will get them back in the mix.
All right, let's talk about Colorado, because Colorado is just video game statistics to this point. And oddly enough, it almost I feel like we're acknowledging it, we're aware of it. I don't think we're giving it enough attention.
We're just kind of shrug. And they did it with Scott Wedgwood, the backup journeyman goaltender, played fantastic. Now Mackenzie Blackwood comes back in, and he's even better.
Yeah.
Which he's supposed to be, but right off the bat, off his injury. So Mackenzie Blackwood might be the starting goaltender for Team Canada in the Olympics. I mean, if he continues this way, depending on Aiden Hill's health, I don't even think he's going to be available. So there's going to be some changes from that standpoint with Team Canada. Don't know how I got us there, but it's via Colorado because they've got it from goaltending through defense, right through Nathan McKinnon up front.
And it's a team that, again, things that happened a year ago don't have to impact things that are happening now, but this is still a team that had to make a hard decision and move on from Mikko Rantanen. You're like, oh, what's that going to mean for them in the future? Well, they're better this year than they were last year, and Gabriel Landeskog coming back into the mix seems to matter.
And Marty Necas has really fit in quite nicely,
yes.
hasn't he? I mean,
they can give Rantanen away for nothing, that's for sure.
Right. So, it's they're deep, they're fast, they're skilled. Plus, they play connected. That group has been together, had success, and they're looking for more success this year.
Plenty of good storylines, and again, a very challenging Western Conference that the Golden Knights continue to battle through, and Carter Hart will be part of that conversation now going forward, and the Golden Knights continue to hope to get healthier as this season goes along and find important points.
Yeah, and I think, if you look at the management of Vegas Golden Knights, Aiden Hill goes out of the lineup. Never mind the other injuries, right? You had Hannafin out in game 1, Stone, Carlson. Stone's back, Carlson isn't. Lausanne still out. But they had to get through the injury in goal. And, you call it what you want. I said earlier, 6-6-6 in those 18 games. You've hung in partly because everything's compressed other than Colorado and Dallas in the conference. But in the division, it's packed. It's packed in. You probably would have wished that third 6 was cut in half and it was 9, 6, and 3. You didn't get as many points. You left some points on the table, and you probably, maybe not that many, but you probably thought you might, given the goaltending situation.
And as the overtime thing gets figured out, that's more points to grab, and I think that'll sort itself out. There's too much talent on that roster.
It's been 2 years though. Yeah. It's not just like it's been this year. So some of it, again, you can always say, well, bad break, crossbar, post, and all that's true. But it's as if the other teams get more opportunities to finish games in overtime than the Golden Knights. And if they don't score on their 1 or 2 chances, they're not getting points out of it right now.
Well, we'll have plenty more opportunities to talk about sitting on this couch. But before we wrap it up for the day, do I remind everybody that Lucky Launch is coming. Lucky Launch is December 16th.
Usually we have props.
Well, I can't throw them yet. If I throw them now, we'll have to go pick them up. It's a whole thing. We'll have Bears on the couch for next week.
There we go.
Lucky Launch presented by America First Credit Union is December 16th. If you've never been a part of it before, it's a ton of fun. Bring as many stuffed animals to Lee's Family Forum as you can. And when the Silver Knights score their first goal of the game, throw them onto the ice. We'll collect them for local charities. It's a great cause. It's a fun spectacle as well.
It really is.
And you know what? The Silver Knights were a part of the Condors teddy bear toss this past weekend. They'll be a part of I believe San Diego's teddy bear toss later this month. So, everyone's watching each other and judging. Make sure you put on a good show. You got to have a good.
It's been a great tradition in the American Hockey League for a long time. Did it start in Hershey? Where it started?
Well, it didn't. It started in the Western Hockey League, and we were having a debate about this over the weekend about where it started, who started it. I think we determined that Kamloops Blazers came up with it, but the Hershey Bears are the record holders. They turn out the best. So YouTube that and see what you need to do to match that count. But December 16th, Lucky Launch will be a lot of fun. Darren, great time as always, and do it next week.
Sounds good.
We're horsing around. Brian McCormick, Darren Elliott, thanks for joining us. We'll see you.